Hey guys, Dr. Steve. I wanted to take a few minutes and share a concept, a technology, a set of tools with you that I call the 7 steps for getting things done. It's had a huge impact on my life, and I think that it'll have the same for you. If you're like most of the people I coach or groups to whom I've spoken, you understand and know the pain of procrastination, the challenge of inefficiency, and the disappointment of not getting things done. It's had an effect on you. You can think about it right now and realize the times that you've disappointed yourself and others, the times that you've fallen short on an objective, the times that you've had an idea but not followed through on it, and then found that somebody else did something that you had meant to do and never did, and then it just became a tremendous thorn in your side to think about the things that you could have done, didn't do, somebody else did and benefited from. Imagine what your life would look like if you could count on yourself to complete a task consistently. If you could follow an idea through to implementation, if you could know without a shadow of a doubt that when an idea pops into your mind that you would be able to take that all the way through to the point where you manifest what you were intending to manifest and reap all the benefits of it. Today I'm going to talk to you about something called the 7 steps for getting things done. This is a system that I've used to great effect for myself. I've used it with clients and they've had great results with it. For myself personally, I was able to use this very system to write a couple of books in under a week each, one of them being a bestseller. And I guarantee that if you make use of the principles and the concepts in this very brief program that I'm about to share with you, that you will feel a lifting of stress from you, less exhaustion, less discouragement, less personal disappointment, less challenges in your relationships, and you'll get a lot more done. So let's get started. Step 1 in the 7 steps for getting things done is called idea capture. I want you to imagine that the ideas that you have are like butterflies flitting around, and you realize that unless you've got your butterfly net with you, in all likelihood you're not going to catch any of those butterflies. Ideas are like butterflies. They come to us in the most inopportune moments. We often don't have our minds focused on the very thing that the idea is related to, and more often than not we think that we'll be able to capture that idea or we'll be able to remember that idea for a later time. More often than not we don't. And so the concept of idea capture is that you go prepared into every moment of your life, whether it be your cell phone or a small memo pad with a pen. What you want to do is you want to make sure that at every moment of every day you've got within arm's length something with which you can capture an idea when it comes to you. And then discipline yourself to write it down or to dictate it to yourself so that that idea is forever captured. Step 2 is called idea collection. For most of us, once we've captured an idea, if we've gotten that far, what we end up doing more often than not is we take that piece of paper that we wrote it on and we drop it on a desk somewhere along with a bunch of other pieces of paper. And before you know it, what we've got are a lot of random pieces of paper in various places, crumpled up in our pockets and on our dresser and underneath the bed and laying on various parts of our desk. And those ideas never get very much shrift. What I'm going to recommend that you do is have a single place where you collect all of the ideas that you've captured. Now, this place is not a place that has anything to do with the inherent nature of the idea. It's a single place that is perhaps a lined piece of paper or a file on your computer. But whenever you have an idea and you bring that idea home with you, that idea goes on that one list. That's the idea collection process. Step 3 is called idea cultivation. Now, granted, not every idea needs to be cultivated. There are ideas that you have like, oh, I better call mom. And then all you do is you get home and you call mom. But there are ideas like writing a book, initiating a new project, creating a speech, developing a new business, which are complex and multifaceted. And the idea that popped into your head initially is only the seed of a much bigger project. And so what needs to happen is a cultivation process, which means a creative process, during which time you're taking all of the affiliated ideas, all the things associated with that original idea, and bringing them together in one place. You want to go ahead and take any one of the ideas on your idea list, on the collection list, and decide that this is an idea it's time to cultivate. And take the name of that idea and move it to the top of a blank piece of paper. Blank meaning unlined piece of paper. What you're about to do is a right brain process. It's not a left brain process. You're not going to start working out the details about the idea, nor are you going to start to schedule or structure the idea at this point. Rather, what you're going to do is you're going to put the seed of the idea somewhere on that piece of paper, And you're going to use colored pens or pencils so that you can stimulate the creative process. When we do workshops on creativity, we explain to people that there's a part of your brain, the right brain, that tends to be more creative and that tends to be more likely to give over its ideas if you play, if you use the playful side of your being, kind of let yourself be a child for a period. So this process can take a number of days, perhaps a week, to just start dropping ideas on that piece of paper. Circle them, put X's around them, whatever it is that you do with them. Colorful, visual, you can link them together with lines, but don't look for the structure. Don't look for the organization or the lineage of the process. Just maybe you think of a story that goes along with this idea. Maybe you realize if it's a speech that it'd be a great metaphor that you could draw from one piece of it, and or something that you see in nature that you go home and you say, oh, that belongs on that piece of paper. Over time, what's going to happen is that one seed of an idea will become an entire constellation of ideas, and the creative process will have given you a lot of juice, a lot of things to work with. Now, at some point, perhaps a week or so after you start that process, it will come time to do the next step, which is called idea structuring. And in the idea structuring process, you want to go ahead and take that white piece of paper with all the wonderful, colorful pieces of the puzzle that you've created, and you want to start putting them in some kind of order. And so you have another piece of paper, a lined piece of paper this time, and a blue or a black pen. Nothing childlike or playful at this point. This is where you're going to go ahead and say, this belongs here and this belongs here, and gradually you're going to draw up an outline, an agenda, a set of actions, an action plan, so to speak, and take all of the ideas and put them in some kind of order. Here's where a lot of people lose the game. They may do exactly what I've just said. They may take their ideas and structure them in a particular order, but that's as far as it goes. What needs to happen next, before those ideas start to make it onto your calendar, is that you need to do a step we call idea testing. If you were to look at that list of agenda items, at that outline, maybe at a chapter listing if it's a book, you will notice that there are certain things on that list that are immediately implementable, things that you can do right now, that there would be nothing in the way for you to make those things happen. And there are other things that you don't yet have whatever it takes to do. Maybe there's a certain amount of knowledge you need to gain in order to do that particular piece of the puzzle. Maybe you need to overcome a mental barrier like fear or anxiety in order to be able to take this step. Whatever it is, once you recognize that that's a step that doesn't yet have a green light, I call it the red light, green light process, well then what you need to do is you need to find a way of making it into a green light. You need to create prerequisites, items that go before that item, that would make it possible for you to achieve that item when the time comes. So go through your list of items, that is your agenda or your outline, and look at each step along the way and test it, as in, can I do this now? And if I can't, what would be a prerequisite? What would be something that I would need to do, be, in order for me to be prepared when it comes time to take that action step? Make sure you don't skip the idea testing stage. Now, once you've done that process, and that could be a day-long process, what you'll do at that point is you will start to schedule the action steps into your day planner or onto your computer. And the big takeaway here is this. A lot of us think that if I put something on my calendar, I'll say I'm going to do this on Tuesday, that's enough. Well, it never is, because Tuesdays often come and go without things getting done. You know that. Some people are a little bit better at this. They'll say I'm going to do it Tuesday at 2 o'clock, but sometimes 2 o'clock comes and they figure I'm going to push it back a little further. What we've found to be the most effective way to count on yourself to get something done is to block book. What that means is that you don't say I'm going to do it Tuesday at 2. You say I'm going to do it Tuesday from 2 to 3. And so in your day planner, you literally draw a box from 2 to 3. And so you've literally blocked out a piece of time specifically for that purpose. What you'll end up with are a series of blocks on your calendar, and your day could become a much more structured day by virtue of the fact that you know what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. Which brings us to the next step in the process called idea implementation. Obviously, that's where we're trying to go with this. We're trying to get to the point where we implement our ideas, where we do what we say we're going to do and follow through with it. And so what's going to happen is that Tuesday at 11 o'clock is going to come around, and there's going to be a block on your calendar. And at that point, you're going to do what it says to do Tuesday at 11 o'clock. and then you're going to check it off. And that's a very important part of the process. You check it off. Should you have a situation in which, for whatever reason, you're unable to take that action step at Tuesday at 11 o'clock, or rather I should say from Tuesday from 11 to 12, then you're going to put an X, and you're going to immediately reschedule it for a different time. Now here's the rule. If any item on your calendar gets pushed off more than twice, what that tells you is one of two things. Either you're trying to do too much at a single time. In other words, you've not chunked it down small enough to be able to fit into the time slot you've allowed it. And you might be able to figure out ways of breaking it into smaller pieces. Or, more likely than not, you didn't test that step in the idea. If you don't test that step, what's going to happen is you're going to reach a point on your calendar and something's going to stop you. Maybe there's something you forgot to get. Maybe there's something that you don't quite know. Maybe you're apprehensive. In my Procrastination Annihilation course, we talk about the 8 flavors of procrastination, the 8 different reasons why you might hesitate to take action at a particular point in time. And each one has its own remedy. That's an entirely different course. But this is where you want to really recognize, I keep putting this thing off. Maybe I don't want to put it on my calendar again, but rather I want to go back and test that idea and find out what do I need to do with it so that what I do put on my calendar will take me step by step through ultimately to that point. So again, you started out by capturing an idea randomly. You then put it onto a collected list so that you can always get to it. Then you're going to take one of those ideas and cultivate it through a right brain creative process. Then you're going to take that creative process and you're going to begin to transfer it into a linear process, an outline, an agenda, a set of steps. Then you're going to take each of those steps and you're going to decide, am I ready to do that step? Do I have what it takes? And you're going to test, as in red light, green light, and create steps before or after those steps until that agenda contains every single piece of the puzzle, everything you need to do, be, and have in order to take the steps when the time comes. Then you're going to transfer them onto your calendar in a block booking fashion. You're going to do them when the time comes, with integrity, with intent. And then as you go through the process of implementing them, you'll notice if there are things there that you didn't do, you'll realize that that really simply means that you didn't test the idea properly, and you might have to go back and refine the process and start again. Here's a concept you may want to consider. If you're self-employed, or if you're working for somebody else but have the entrepreneurial spirit, which I believe we all should have, that is the sense that I am my own boss. I am self-employed. Even if I'm not, I treat myself as if I am. But, you know, when we say I'm self-employed, we often then say what I just said, which is I am my own boss. But it's also true that you're your own employee. So in this 7-step process I've described to you, the first 6 steps, you're your own boss. You get to come up with an idea, to collect it, to cultivate it, to schedule it, to test it, and to structure it. But when it comes time to implement it, that is the time during which you need to become your own employee. Are you a good employee? Are you reliable? Will you do what your boss told you to do? Because otherwise you're not a very good employee. So treat this process with integrity. Do it exactly as I've described it. And I guarantee that you'll start to see that you're getting more done, that you're feeling more relaxed, that you're not inducing as much stress and strain and conflict in your life, and that you're feeling better about yourself. I wish you the very best. I hope this has been of value to you. I want you to know that this is just the tip of the iceberg for materials on productivity, mental ease, peak performance under pressure, and these are the areas that I speak to. So if you'd like to talk to me about being a presenter at one of your conferences, if you'd like to talk to me about being your own personal coach to help you through some difficult times and sticky areas for you, I'm here for you. Reach out to me and we can have a conversation about that. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope this has been of value to you. Take care.